Hello, everybody. This is DFS Chan coming to you here on January 14th to talk about tomorrow morning's slate. Happy Dr. Martin Luther King's Day tomorrow. Thankfully, I get a day off from my other full time job, and I hope you guys do the same. If not, hope you guys still enjoy the day tomorrow because it's going to be filled with not only League of Legends that I will talk about here shortly, but also football and basketball. And it's going to be a great day. I think it's going to feel a little bit like a different Monday. So, yeah, I hope you guys are having a good start. Have a good start to the week tomorrow. And happy MLK Day. This morning we had an okay day. At least I did, based on the advice that I provided in the last video. Um, I got both of the bets correctly. Finally, so I think I'm 3-1 among my favorite bets. I know one of the game predictions didn't really pan out, but I think most of them hit, and I think I broke maybe even or so. So overall, it was fine. But we have a rare 3-day LEC slates, back to back to back. So I'll go into it here tomorrow. It will be the last day of the weekend, for us to play this. And I'll show you this. And I thought this was very interesting. So tomorrow morning we have a 5K to first, for the LEC slate. We have 5 games, again, best of ones. But then for Wednesday we have the Juggernaut LCK overnight slate created by DK, 3 a.m. But look at the prize pool. It's a 10K to first. I've been advocating. I've been protesting. I've been speaking up on behalf of all the League of Legends, DFS players. And I hope I had a small say in this, but still, nonetheless, I think DK is also excited about, the crowd who's interested in the LCK, but then LPL that's coming up, from China, League of Legends as well. So yeah, I hope, if you guys are watching this, I hope you guys, please, I beg you to either max it out or at least put more than one entry in the GPP. And I know there's a Triumphant Warrior, the $333 GPP as well, for 10K to first prize pool. So feel free, to make sure, let's make sure that we get those filled so that we keep these League of Legends DFS popularity going. And obviously NFL is in the postseason, so we'll slide right back in there. I know NBA is going on, NHL is going on, but if you play DFS during the COVID season, League of Legends DFS was one of very few sports, that we could play gambling wise. So I hope that we push this, keep this going, um, and so on. So yeah, please, let's make sure we fill these. So I'll make a video about LCK on Monday, I believe. So I'll go into that. But we have some good matchups there. Unfortunately, it's a 2-game slate, so we'll go into that later, this week. But for tomorrow, LEC, these games are interesting. First, let's look at the odds. We have BDS versus Vitality. I use the odds on Bovada. That's just the website that I use get these odds from. But BDS is favored over Vitality. Vitality has looked pretty bad, especially their jungler, Douglas. So I think that's about right. I mean, BDS has looked pretty good so far. I think they are very streaky. I think once they have the lead, they know how to snowball and take advantage of that. But when they fall behind, they tend to, make some mistakes. But at least they really try to come back into the game. And I like that about the teams who are willing to take the risk to get back in the game. And BDS fits that mold, in my opinion. Like today, I know they had a really good victory. Um, I I think I picked Giant X in in yesterday's video, but I know it was like going to be a toss up, and I had a hard time choosing between them two. But and I mean, I think it was back and forth, this morning as well, and BDS ended up winning, but still. BDS, yeah, should be favored here. Vitality, like I said, they are a mess right now, especially if they don't fix the jungling uh, skill player there. Douglas looked really bad, and their team fights look pretty bad. And just without a competent jungler, it's gonna be really hard to do. So I'm actually gonna go with BDS here as well. In terms of the kill upside, I'll go into the metrics and all that, but I'll show you how bad that jungler is for Vitality as well, but metric wise. The next game is G2 versus Rogue. Rogue is another team that has looked horrendous. I think G2 should be able to win this. Marcoon, the jungler for Rogue, just not very good. G2, on the other hand, they looked a little more consistent. I think, for G2, they're so talented. Like they'll eventually like get it right. And today was an example of that. I know the first day of the season opener, 2 days ago, was not, you know, like not their best performance. But I think, I mean, against Carmine Corp, like I thought they played pretty well. So I think G2 should really win this. Rogue, this is an interesting one in terms of kill upside. I mean, Rogue likes to play slow. So I think it reduces G2's kill upside, and G2 really hasn't paid dividends as the biggest favorites the last couple of slates. So I think a lot of people actually want to maybe fade away from Rogue. But I think, so I think the ownership will just kind of, wind down a little bit as the days go, that G2 does not dominate or smash. And I think this is another spot where Rogue like really reduces G2's kill upside overall. So, and we'll look at the metrics maybe that will help me support and confirm my belief there. The next match on the slate is Giant X versus Team Heretics. Giant X is an interesting one. Like I said, I think they played okay. Like I think they are a team that can definitely win the games. I think middle of the pack, kind of like how SK Gaming was last season. I think Giant X has a pretty decent team and pretty decent composition of players. Mediocre, above average players, I think. And then Team Heretics, they got their maybe mojo back. I think they played okay. I mean, it's bad. Rogue. As bad as Rogue played today, I think Team Heretics showed some good, promising signs there in that matchup against Rogue. Yanko's played pretty well, but I just did not have any doubt on Yanko's. It's the other players on that team that I have some doubts on. And I think this is an interesting one. I think it should be a pretty close, even odds between these two. I think Team Heretics, I mean, they are filled with players who are very experienced. They know this game in and out, but then they're kind of on the older side. I think I mentioned this on the last two videos. And then Giant X is kind of up and coming. They have few up and coming players that are going up against this veteran team. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'm just gonna let the metrics dictate that, because from the eye test, they're pretty close. I think they're kind of mediocre at the moment, just based on their form. So we'll see how that goes. I think the better jungler and the better maybe mid laner. We'll see. Jackie's for the mid lane for Giant X was not very impressive to me today against BDS. So we'll see. Carmine Corp versus Mad Lions is the fourth match on the slate. Carmine Corp actually, I thought they performed pretty well the last couple days. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about how important and crucial team continuity is in League of Legends matches, especially the professional matches. And for DFS purposes, that actually makes a lot of sense as well to correlate those players on the team that, in which those players have played with one another for a while. And I think it just creates a better team synergy. It creates a better team identity. And early on in the season, compared to those teams that have newer players and new coaches, I think the continuity aspect of it is crucial, and I think it's a big factor in increasing your team's chance of winning. And also from a DFS standpoint, team synergy makes a lot. It's a very important aspect of it because of the kill participation aspect of it from a DFS standpoint. So that's why sometimes when I stack early in the season, I don't think I've ever talked about this in my videos the last couple of days, but sometimes when I correlate, I think about how long these players also have played with one another together. And how that team likes to group up and then create or initiate team fights. That way, if they do end up winning team fights, if they do end up winning the game eventually, I mean, all of those players, if not four or five of those players on that team, will be participating in those team fights very more than often, right? Um, and they'll get more points as an assist, as a group, as a stack, with positive correlation, for one another in that stack of players. I think that makes a huge sense point wise. And you saw that with Fnatic. I think I talked about this 2 days ago. Fnatic, I think the only change to that roster that they made is in support position in June over Trimby, I believe. And you saw the correlation like 2 days ago when, I mean, the Fnatic players were the best scoring players on that team. I know it's easy to kind of think about it from, oh, you know, um, whichever teams that score the highest total number of kills will more than likely finish or more than likely have those players with the highest scoring output. But sometimes that's not the case. Like you saw in G2, you saw in, I think, Carmine Corp, I think in that game, like you saw that correlation pan out, for certain stacks, certain player stacks there. So I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but like I said, I think early in the season it makes a lot of sense to play those teams that have had these roster players come back or returning, from last year. I think it makes a lot of sense that they will more than likely score well in a stack, in a game that they score very well in terms of total number of kills. So that's a long way of saying Carmine Corp has shown me enough that I believe that they're gonna pull one off eventually. And I think this is the spot. I think this is a spot where I think they will beat Mad Lions. And I know Mad Lions had a very good game on the first day against Team Heretics. But I think I told you in yesterday's video that, I mean, I'm just not a huge believer in that. And I think El Yoya is the only player that came back from last year for that team. I think everybody else is new. Um, so I think there will be some time to get used to it. I understand they all, speak Spanish and so on, but maybe except for the mid laner. But so yeah, I think Mad Lions is going to be overrated for the rest of this week and the next week. I like Carmine Corp's form. I mean, they went up against G2 and Fnatic the first 2 days of entering the LEC scene. I mean, welcome to the LEC. Like G2 and Fnatic are the two best teams, arguably, and they actually put up a very good fight in both of those games. So So I think Carmine Corp's going to win. And I think this is going to be a good match for kill upside. Like I said, Carmine Corp games tend to produce a lot of kills. And today was no exception against G2. I think it was like 15 to 19, 15 to 14, I believe. So, I mean, that's 29 total kills, right? I mean, that you cannot ask for more than that. If you tell me that one of these games will finish with 29 kills total, I'm definitely gonna have a piece of either of those teams in that stack. I mean, in that game. Hopefully, the winning one, right? So that's why I make these predictions. Hopefully, we get on the right side. All right, last game of the slate is between Fnatic and SK Gaming. Probably two of the hottest teams in the LEC. Fnatic, probably the best LEC team right now, even over G2. That's my opinion. And then SK Gaming, very hot with the new jungler in Isma. I spoke about this yesterday. He impressed me a lot on the first day, and he impressed me again today. I like SK Gaming's chances of maybe finishing top 4 this season, this split rather. So we'll see how that goes. And this is a tough matchup to call. I think I might, for DFS purposes, I think I might want to play both of them, both teams in this matchup. I think it's gonna be a kill fest, kind of like the match right before this, Carmine versus Mad Lions. I like Fnatic in this spot still. I think if I have to choose a winner, I mean Fnatic will be the winner. I think. SK Gaming definitely has the capability to pull this off though as an underdog. I know they're a sizable underdog, looking at the odds, but I think they can do it. I mean, I think they can do. I think they definitely have a pretty good shot at pulling this off. But either way, regardless of who you think will win, I think this match, potentially, presents a high kill upside spot here for both teams. So I think those are my predictions just based on my eye tests. So I just wanted to kind of take a quick look at some metrics, see if any of them stands out after 2 days. So let's look at CKPM, see how fast these teams have been playing. You see 0.56 is really slow, and who is that? Rogue. And that's kind of what I talked about. Rogue maybe potentially reducing the kill upside of G2. G2 likes to play fast, but man, going up against Rogue, maybe Rogue plays really conservatively and then just does not give up enough kills for G2. And then G2 could also easily sweep Rogue maybe in like 25, 30 minutes in a game where G2 just wins, 15 to 5, like really low kills. That is also a possibility given how bad Rogue has looked. And G2 has notoriously dominated against inferior teams like these in the LEC scene for many, many years, actually, maybe over a decade now. So that's going to be an interesting one. I think for cash, maybe like double ups, I think G2 makes a lot of sense since they're the biggest favorite and their ownership will be high, but not as high as they were, I think, the last couple of days. Maybe people seeing that they just are not in the optimal or the winning lineups. So maybe that will kind of take people off of G2's ownership. So we'll see how that goes. But like I said, game environment, it's not great. I think Rogue likes to play slow. And then you see Heretics likes to play slow as well. Who are they playing against again? Giant X. Giant X is up here though. So that's going to be an interesting one. I think whoever dictates the jungle and the laning phase, I think Giant X definitely will, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Yankos he looked pretty good today. So that's going to be an interesting one. And then everybody else is about the same. Giant X and Vitality have been playing fast. I think Vitality game is an interesting one. I think BDS definitely has a potential to play faster than they have been. So maybe BDS is in a good spot right here against Vitality. But like I said, Vitality's jungle is horrible. So it might just get dictated by BDS's jungle. But I think Vitality just likes to throw bodies and initiate team fights when maybe losing team fights without knowing that they're going to be losing it. Early game rating, mid game rating. Carmine Corp stands out as the not a good team fighting team there. That's an interesting one against Mad Lions. But Mad Lions is not very good either. Yep, they're down here as well. G2, good mid game, late game. Same for SK. Look at SK stats. I mean, come on. That is amazing. 42-57, both positive. Same for Fnatic. Like you can see the only two teams that have positive EGR and MLR is Fnatic, SK, Team Heretics to an extent. I mean, 10.5 is kind of just give and go, give and take. G2, okay. So SK's up there. SK's up there. I think that's an interesting one. I think SK playing against Fnatic. Ooh, man, that's gonna be a good one. Yeah. All right, and then goal difference at 15 minutes. You see Fnatic dominating the league, and G2's down here. I told you. I mean, they have not. I know they're 2-0, but they're still not dominant as Fnatic. Mad Lions is up here only because they smashed Team Heretics on the first day, and they're down here as well. And Vitality, you see, I mean, you see it. Vitality is bad. Like Vitality is really bad. We'll see if they get a new jungler. All right, and then these are the last two I'm gonna look at for teams. This video will be a little bit shorter than the last couple days, and I will post an article on TrueDFS premium website on my favorite top plays and stacks. So feel free to go check those out. Lane and jungle. Here you see lane's about, I mean, there's nothing that really stands out. Fnatic's laning is superior than everybody else's. Jungling control percentage is an interesting one here, where I think El Yoya is still really dominant. That's an interesting one at the top with Mad Lions. And then BDS. Ooh, BDS is up there. Shio is up there. We'll see how that correlates to the individual metrics we're about to look at. And then same for Fnatic and same for SK. So SK versus Fnatic, like I said, I mean, back to back here. And then the poor one is Rogue. Okay, Rogue, Carmine, Heretics, Vitality, and Giant-X. But man, 42 is really low. So maybe Marcoon's not performing really well either. So we'll take a look at that right now. Let's see. All right, what I usually look at is the jungling position first, and then EGPM right away, and then kind of look at other ancillary metrics. You see EGPM, like I said, is an average earned gold per minute metric, where it talks about the higher the higher this number is, the more likely that jungler dominates, the jungle in that match, but also the resources around the map. So you see Yike is up there for G2. That is really good to see. So that tells me that G2's mediocre form is not due to Yike. It's due to other laners. Fault. You see Resort for Fnatic is up here. And then BDS Shio. Like that assures me that BDS is more than likely going to win that matchup against Vitality, because you see Douglas and Marcoon. Douglas is a jungler for Vitality. Marcoon is the jungler for Rogue, and they are at the bottom too. And that is that is actually really consistent with what I have been saying here. Rogue versus G2, and then Vitality versus BDS. And just looking at everything so far, I think BDS is in a really good spot here to tomorrow morning in terms of the chance of winning, but also the kill upside. BDS players, I think, is in a good spot. But then, historically speaking, if you played DFS last year, BDS kept, I think it were 3 or 4 times. They ended up losing in the smash spots, in the spots where they really should have won big and then score big. They just ended up losing those matches. Maybe they are underrating the opponents in those smash spots. Maybe they just fold under pressure. I don't know. When the spotlight is too bright, maybe BDS folds. I don't know. But really, should be a winnable matchup for BDS, where they really should rack up a lot of kills. And BDS, at least from the ways that they've been playing the last couple of days, I see that they are more than willing to initiate team fights, and I like that about that style about BDS. In many ways, especially for DFS. I mean, that just creates a lot more kills and deaths and assists and so on and so forth. So I like BDS in this spot. That's probably going to be my top play, one of my top plays in my write-up article later today. Yeah, I think that's it. I think those are the key metrics that I typically look at. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's about 30 minutes long. Let me pull this up real quick. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, there you go. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. But like I said, I'll share more insights in my write-up on TrueDFS premium website. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the night, and I hope you enjoy your day tomorrow. Yeah, and good luck out there. Yeah, have a good one.